Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of Arts and Crimes.
Barts and Crimes. That's what that sounded like.
Arts and Crimes. I'm your host, Kelly.
I'm Brandon.
And I'm your temporary guest co-host, Josh.
Josh, it's time. Sorry for missing last week, or 2 weeks ago, or whatever that means.
Yeah.
But we're back.
Luckily, this pod brings enough money that we can skip, and it's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody gets really mad about it.
We were taking our team retreat to Hawaii.
Yeah. No, we were planning our catacombs trip.
Oh,
But-
yes.
yeah.
To France.
To France.
Where the French catacombs are.
Yeah. Okay. I'm real excited about today's, but first, week checks, baby. I don't know. Somebody go?
Yeah. All right.
You're the best week checker.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
Phil.
planning, Kelly.
The secret is planning.
Okay, so for this episode's week check, I want to talk a little bit about Destiny.
Okay.
The video game.
He was a beautiful
or,
horse.
Or just our destiny as a people.
Yeah.
As a species. We are destined to reach the stars. If we,
We
can
did that.
Oh, man.
But
We didn't reach a star.
bridle our
that's
destructive desires. One day we will stride across the galaxy on steeds of metal and flame.
Didn't we talk about that once? That, Josh, there's like a theory that we don't have interstellar travel because aliens have deemed us too dangerous and like war thirsty?
I don't think that we've covered that
Yeah, I don't know.
in this pod or with each other.
I wrote a blog post about something similar.
Did I read your blog?
That is an
Maybe.
interest. Wait, you wrote this conspiracy theory that she's saying to me?
Yeah, that's how the internet works.
I just assumed that meant we talked about it, I guess.
It's not
Sorry.
exactly this conspiracy, though. I wouldn't say that we're
I boiled it
cordoned
down.
off. I would say that they don't talk to us because we would be terrible to talk to.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Well,
Destiny.
we talked to dolphins.
We tried. You know what else
Yeah.
we did?
All right.
Anyway, back to your week check. We're doing great already.
So, Destiny is a franchise, a video game franchise that exists. It consists of Destiny and then Destiny 2.
Yes.
And the franchise has been going for like 10 years.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
It's a video game for people that don't know.
Yeah, yes. It's a video game for people who don't know. And for other people too. Like anybody can play it. Man, that joke didn't hit. Okay.
It's okay, I'll cut it.
Were you implying that only people who don't know it's a video game can play it?
Yeah. All right.
It's been too long since we recorded, I think.
I know. We saved up all these great jokes, like dolphin.
We made no jokes on our Hawaii catacombs retreat.
Yeah, it was very serious.
Yeah, keep going.
All right. So, anyway, it's reached its end of service. So, there's been a lot of different changes and stuff. Bungie, who made Halo, made Destiny, and they were independent. They made a bunch of questionable decisions about how to spend their money and kind of ran their company into the ground a little bit.
Oops.
And then Sony came in and bought them.
Whoopsie doopsie.
Yeah. And then they released another game, which didn't do great. And at this point,
that Marathon?
Marathon, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
And so at this point, they're not making money. The game isn't sustainable, and Sony, it's just, you gotta let it go. And so they've came out with one final update, like June 9th.
For Destiny 2?
And like a really big update, actually. Like, it's definitely like this farewell update, a lot of new content and things to do and tweaks to powers and exotic weapons, and just like it's and there it is. And enjoy. This is how it's going to be for the rest of forever until the servers turn off. And so I played Destiny from the alpha. Like when there was alpha tested, I was part of the alpha testing for Destiny. So I've been...
It's been part of your life for a long time.
Like very weirdly, it has been part of my life for a long, long time. And Lincoln grew up like watching me play Destiny, and then eventually playing Destiny with me. And there's raids and stuff, and there was a couple years, I think legitimately a couple years where I knew what I was doing every Friday night, because every Friday night was raiding with Lincoln and some of the friends that we'd made in Destiny.
Along the way.
Yeah.
Maybe that was the real Destiny.
End of pod.
So there you go, listeners. Anyway, I fell off Destiny a couple different times. There were times where I just wasn't feeling it. I'd come back a month later or 3 months later and be playing it again and interested. And then most recently, I had kind of just been like, I don't like where it's going. It doesn't feel like it's respecting my time with how they're running the game and what they're asking me to do. And so I probably hadn't played Destiny in like maybe a year. And then this update came out, and Lincoln was like, should we check it out? And sure. And it has been fun. And some of our friends did come back to it as well, and we've been raiding and stuff and playing. And so that's been like really enjoyable this last bit. And so like actually the night before last, we were raiding till 2 a.m. Last night we were raiding till 2 a.m.
And yet you were the only one that woke up for the podcast.
Yeah, Brendan had to wake both of us up at Josh's house this morning.
You're a lot better at going with a little sleep. That's always been the case, but
yeah,
this morning especially, it's highlighted.
Just you wait.
No.
I'm going to challenge that number here in a minute. Keep going.
So anyway, I just sharing that with you guys, and I was thinking about it actually this morning, because I had decided that Destiny was going to be my week check. But something that like stood out to me as what a weird experience. Lincoln and I both have loved Destiny and enjoyed this time, but for me, it's just the last 10 years of my life, which is a big chunk and has been very meaningful for me. And I loved our Friday night raids and like being a part of my son's life, and like the comfort that a parent can take in, where's my son on Friday night? Oh, he's in the other room playing Destiny with me. But for Lincoln, I haven't asked him about this. It's more than half his life.
Yeah.
And the first half you barely remember. So like Destiny's maybe in his mind just always been around, and now it won't be. And that's very weird. And
You're going to have to write people that make Destiny. Dear people.
Okay. Good start.
Yeah. You really pulled him in with that.
You haven't thought about this. Do better. I think that's real motivation.
You know what's funny? I'm like, I should download Destiny 2 again, because I'm like, I always have been off-put by it changing so often because I don't play super frequently. But the idea that it's like more like a normal game now, where I could just kind of play and not every time. So yeah, I would play for a few weeks and then take off like years, and come back and literally the whole game has changed and nothing's the same. So I'm like, oh, I could do my regular pattern, but it would be the same. That sounds great.
This might be the perfect update for you.
Yeah, there you go. I played every once in a while with you guys. I was
Yeah.
like backup.
For a while, you were
Yeah.
a titan.
A titan. Yeah.
Of industry?
No.
Just a regular titan.
Yeah.
Oh.
Magical space titan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of yellow armor.
Yes, the other kind of Titan that everyone knows about. What have been your other big games? So you've done Destiny. Probably would Diablo be one?
Diablo.
Souls games.
EverQuest?
Yeah. No. Never.
Oh, what's the other one? There was one like MMORPG.
I played Guild Wars.
Oh, Guild
for a
Wars.
long
That was the
time.
one I was thinking of.
But it was, and Guild Wars was, a chunk of my life. But it consumed too much of my life at the time.
Yeah.
That's what
and-
MMORPGs do.
Yeah.
And like it was affecting my life outside of the game. I was spending so much time on it. So I ended up recognizing that and didn't want to ruin my life. So I sold my account and like just stepped completely away from it. Was interestingly enough, like years later, I've come back to it, and it's not interesting.
Really?
I got the PC recently, and I thought I can finally play Guild Wars 2 because I never got to play that, and I downloaded and installed it, and I was like, man, this is so boring. What a waste of my time. So
That's so funny.
I've been very grateful that worked. That stepping away was enough that I could still enjoy this hobby of video game playing and not go back to having it completely, destroy my life.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people deal with addiction and have to and can ever go back.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but the Souls games probably I would say are,
And Helldivers, I would say.
yeah, Helldivers is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still tippy
It
top.
is. And I sometimes play that one.
Yeah, with us.
Yeah. And I'm like level 30 and y'all are level 150.
I'm not yet.
Yeah, you're only like a level 127. You,
Baby.
terrible person.
I like it. I think my top games are not any of the same ones at all.
We definitely
we don't
three
cross.
of us consume different games.
I think Josh and I consume more. I think we've probably got crossover in our top games.
Yeah.
But what's funny is that our top games that cross over are single player games.
Yeah, they're not ones other people
So,
like Skyrim.
Yeah.
For sure.
Or Cyberpunk.
Yeah. Cyberpunk, Dragon Age,
Yes, Dragon Age and Mass Effect.
Mass Effect. Yeah.
All single player games that
Yeah.
I've sunk a lot of time into.
Yeah, and I have I replay Mass Effect and Dragon Age and Cyberpunk and Skyrim all as like comfort games.
Yeah.
I restarted Mass Effect a couple days ago. I started with the first one because it needed a download for the second one, and I started playing it, and I was like, I love this game. And then I started like actually playing it. I was like, oh yeah, the first one sucks.
Yeah, it's got some problems. It's still good though.
Yeah.
The whatever Legacy Collection or whatever of all three was
Yeah.
such a great deal.
So good. Anyways, it's on my week check. I was just
Yeah.
So what's your real week check?
my real week check is Dungeon Crawler Carl, baby. So I have been I'm listening to audiobook so that I can do other stuff. Brandon's actually reading the physical book like some sort of caveman. And
What can I say?
You're a real cultured man.
yeah, here's the thing, like it's so funny because I was talking to Brandon about this because he's physically reading it, and I was like, oh my gosh, that means you don't get the personalities that are imbued into the audiobook, which maybe that's good, maybe it's bad, but our experience of the book is very different because the audiobooks are just really well done, but the narrator does voices for all of the characters, and so I hear the voice, like Prepotente has sort of a posh British accent, and Mordecai's accent changes slightly every book because he changes form every book, but he's like got a bit of a twang in it, and like You know how Carl sounds like this big tough guy, and most of the voices are done by the same man. He does an excellent job. I just adore the audiobooks. There's some audiobooks where you're like, this narrator's fine, I can get through it. And others, I literally cannot listen to the audiobook of it because it's so atrocious. The Spanish version of Harry Potter, I cannot stand that narrator. There's something about when a narrator, like when a male narrator and all of his female voices are, oh my, I could not, like way up high like that. I'm like, just stop.
You'd rather you have deep voiced women?
No, they like, I don't know, there's lots of male
Hermione is like, Harry Potter. It's me, Hermione. The Spanish version of Hermione.
Yeah.
¿Cómo estás, Harry Potter?
I would absolutely listen to that. Yeah. I don't know. There's some that just do it atrociously, and others that do a really excellent job. Because like most audiobook narrators are male, and so you just are accustomed to either like the ones that do Brandon Sanderson's books. Those two, I forget their names, but it's the same two all the time. And one is a male and one is a female. But when they switch personas, there's obviously male and female counterparts. And they both do a great job, like doing both the male and female voices. Other ones do great doing the male and female voices. It's not that they do like a quote unquote like woman voice. They just like change their tone and it's fine. But that one I just could not.
That's funny.
Yeah. But
so,
anyways.
For Dungeon Crawler Carl, I assume they just all kind of sound like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In your head?
It's like,
yeah.
They all sound amazing. They sound seductive yet warm. They sound...
No, yeah, they usually, there's not character variation in my brain as I'm reading through the book, other than sometimes like Prepotente. He will say some things that are worded like a posh English person would talk. And so for a second during that, like, this is obviously a posh British sentence, and it comes out in my head as a posh British sentence. But then he goes back to talking normal.
That's
so
funny.
Brandon is Carl in Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Yeah, Carl speaks just like me.
Yeah.
And everyone else...
As well he should.
I'm just saying what they would... Like, Carl's just telling me what they said.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he's, of course, using his own voice, because it would be weird to pull voices.
Yeah.
No, it's... Anyways, I love the audiobook version. The guy does an amazing job. And I think that Matt Dinneman, the author, and the audiobook narrator, I don't know what his name is. I feel like I should know. So I'm in book 6, and there are some extra, who's the guy that plays Kronk?
That guy.
Yeah.
The voice
Willem
actor.
Dafoe.
What?
No.
No. Anyways, he's in the 6th book as one of the characters.
That was not, but it's a W. His name is a W, and all I could think of was Willem Dafoe.
Anyways, Jeff Hayes. Jeff Hayes is the narrator. And
Patrick Warburton.
that's it.
I knew it was Willem Dafoe.
You were right there. And there's 2 additional ones in the 6th one. So they really bring out a full cast for the 6th one. But Patrick Warburton is actually, and when he shows up, you're like, Kronk? It definitely sounds.
Yeah,
like
he doesn't do other voices.
No,
he just does his own
Kronk.
voice. It's funny that the's some voice actors that some are known for their flexibility, and some it's like, oh, this is just the guy.
This is just the guy. This is his voice, like Archer.
Yeah, he is the same voice.
Yeah, which is why the Archer and Bob's Burger crossover is amazing.
Yeah.
Anyways, Jeff Hayes does a fantastic job.
Yes.
As the audiobook. Sorry, this is really getting long, and
No,
I
you're
apologize.
good. You shared with me some of his work, so I could listen to it. But what I think is really surprising for me is that you love his work. He does an amazing job, but I'm going to listen to it at twice the speed.
Yeah.
So he sounds like a chipmunk.
So
it
doesn't sound like a
all
chipmunk
this
at
work, and I'm just going to destroy it.
No. I I don't. Okay, I don't.
Like all those meaningful pauses and stuff where people are just like, this is really intense and hitting and feels in the emotions. And you're just like,
No, you guys. Okay, I listen to 1.7 times faster so that it's not too fast because there are pauses. But you still get those pauses. It's all just quicker.
Yeah.
But when you're like used to that clip, it's still like I literally cried listening to it.
Yeah.
When the chipmunk died.
They don't sound like chipmunks.
Oh no!
All right, you're being teased right now.
I know.
It's all...
But like,
I'm serious
he is
about Alvin dying.
yeah,
It is sad.
He got really sad. The thing is
He was the leader of the chipmunks.
it doesn't pitch the voices higher. It still sounds exactly the same. It's just faster. But the 1.0 speed is so painfully slow. It feels like they're talking in slow motion and that they're all, I'm like, are they all just like the slowest humans on earth? Like, I sometimes will switch it back. Like I switched it back to play for Brandon so that he wasn't at the 1.7 speed that I was listening to it at. And I was like, just say the sentence, man, just say the sentence. So yeah, the other nice thing about going at 1.7 speed is the book is like, I think the 6th one is like 28 hours long or something like that.
It's like 18 hours long.
Yeah, it's much shorter, so I get through it way faster. It doesn't tell me because I'm in the process. I have, like, it says 5 hours left when I go here, but when I'm actually playing it, it tells me I have 3 hours left. But the next book, the 7th book, is 28 hours long. But I get through it way faster.
You know how you could get through it even faster? 5 times speed.
No, it only goes up to...
If you did 100 times speed, you'd get through it in like 10 minutes.
Yeah. No. Anyways, all that to say, listen to the audiobook. It's fantastic. Or read it. Brandon's voice is great too. Because now if you read it, it only sounds like Brandon, whoever you are.
Yeah. From now on.
But I was listening to it last night because I was having a hard time falling asleep. And I played some Mass Effect. I was like, this will put me to sleep because I have to get in like the Mako and go drive around planets and it sucks.
So you guys admit your games are boring.
Just the first one.
Sometimes.
Sometimes they are. It's when you gotta grind. Anyways, so I was like, oh, it's alright. I'll just like listen to Dungeon Crawler Carl, DCC, for a little bit and then I'll go to sleep. So I put on the sleep timer and lay down, and I get to the end of the sleep timer and I'm like, ugh, but what's gonna happen next? And if I shake my phone, it re-ups the sleep timer.
Oh, that's funny.
And so it's just a setting that Audible has, I guess. So I got to the end and I shook it, and I got to the end and I shook it, and I just kept doing it without thinking about it. And it was like 4:00 by the time I was like, I think I probably, because it was after 3 when I was like, oh my gosh, you have to record the pod tomorrow. You have to stop. And so I'm at a point where there's like literally 8 different participants in a boss fight, and it's just like insane. And you're like, oh my gosh, she's going up against this one guy that I hate. And anyways, I was like, it's fine. You have to go to sleep. You have to go to sleep. And I just sat there awake for a very long time trying to fall asleep because I was like wanting to know what was next. And then I was like, there's only 3 hours left. You could just listen to the last 3 hours.
And then not sleep at all.
I didn't. I went to bed. But here's the problem is last night I was worried that we weren't going to record because I forgot it was the 4th of July. So I scheduled a text to go out to you guys.
That's what happened?
Oh my gosh.
After like 6:30, my phone goes off of sleepy time mode, so it'll make notifications again. And notifications usually wake me up in the morning. So I was like, I'll text them. I'll schedule a text to them, make sure that they're fine with recording, and then when they text back, it'll wake me up. Guess what it didn't do? It didn't wake me up until Brandon called at Josh's house. So, oops.
That's funny because I got that text and immediately responded back.
And I said nothing.
You know, and nothing. And then I took a shower and then I sent another text and nothing. And I was like, well, like, I'm sure she wants me to come over.
She sent this text.
She sent this text, yeah.
Herself.
So I'll drive over. I don't want her to text me and then I still have the drive to make, you know. And I was just like, I can't. She went back to sleep? She sent this text and she went back to sleep? I don't understand.
That's
That's really funny.
yeah, so anyway.
So one point in favor of reading, at least for me, is that it's more work to read, and so reading to fall asleep, it works for me because eventually I get tired of putting in the effort to read it, and so
which
that
makes sense. That's what I should have done.
Do you have that capability with Audible to
I know how to read, Brandon.
do you have
This whole time she hasn't known. I listen to audiobooks because they're cool, not because I can't read.
I mean, does Audible give you a copy of the book that you can read from?
No, I have to buy the physical book, which I do.
Oh.
I buy the physical books.
Sometimes I do listen to the books. I just don't pay for Audible.
Yeah, so it's like Google Voice.
Well, since I'm reading it on Kindle Unlimited, it's Alexa.
Ew.
So, I mean, that was harsh.
I mean,
So if I'm like in the car, I'm driving, but I want to read some more, then I'll just have Alexa read it to me.
that's
Interesting.
fine. It's just not as great as it could be. I think that's absolutely true, and that's probably what I should have done, is gotten a physical book. Anyways, the best laid plans of mice and men off go astray.
Off King Ugly.
Yeah. Anyway.
So
That was-
did my beautiful boy.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, how
Okay, here's my week check. Are you guys ready? Because this is so long
This
already.
is
I'm
a
sorry.
huge week check,
yeah,
but
I'll have to trim the fat. As it were.
There's no fat. All that was thing, especially the thing about it's the most important part. You should beep that, but not cut it. Beep it.
I'm just going to inappropriately beep you now for the rest of the pod.
oh my goodness.
Okay, so mine.
Do you remember those when they would do it to the Muppets?
Yeah. I love the
to
count.
Yeah.
He
Anyway,
bleeps
sorry.
the word count.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk about insomnia. It seems like a thing. I don't know if I told you guys that I suffered from a period of insomnia,
Yeah.
which was terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, it's very weird to have. I've always fallen asleep quickly, and then randomly I couldn't, and I would just be up until like 4 a.m, like laying in bed, not doing any and it was so weird to be like, why does this thing that was always so easy just utterly break for me? So I did a bunch of research. I started doing CBTI, which is a type of therapy. It's cognitive behavioral therapy specifically for insomnia. But one of the things they recommend is, and for anyone suffering from insomnia, Kelly, here's the recommendation, is you get out of your bed, you go somewhere else that you can have like a warm, soft light on, and you read a boring book until your body feels sleepy again, until you notice that you're feeling sleepy, and then you can go lay down and fall asleep, right? That's what they recommend. And my go-to book for this period is the funniest. I don't know why this is the funniest book. It is Isaac Asimov's 2-volume autobiography. And this,
That does already sound boring.
which starts at age 3 or something like that, or age 5. As soon as he's like, and it is comprehensive. Like, Isaac Asimov wrote some of the most imaginative, amazing works of all time, and his autobiography is the most boring book I've ever read, because he just goes through his whole life, like, And we lived above this little shop, and sometimes my dad would read the newspaper during breakfast, and I would sit there, eat my mush, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, so, and it gets worse when he starts journaling, because then he has a chapter for every day, essentially, and it's whatever happened that day. So I have the second volume, which I have not even come close to, because they're like 600 pages long, and I'm like 100 pages into the first volume, because I always immediately am ready to fall asleep. And so I was like, should I even keep this second volume? So I flipped it open to a random page to be like, maybe later in life it's like, ooh, secrets of the industry. This is how I write. And I flipped it open and read it, and he goes, today while I was walking down a hallway at the office, I saw somebody, and I said, you know, you look like Bill Matherson or whatever. I don't remember what the name was. And he said, huh, that's interesting. Yeah, I guess I kind of do. And he walked away. And later somebody told me that was actually Bill Matherson. And that's the whole entry. And I was like, this is the worst anecdote from the most boring person. And it's a whole book of them. So I can loan you the second volume.
Yeah, nice.
You know what? I'll gift it to you.
Oh my gosh, it'll be my bedtime book.
She'll set it right next to that book you went all on and on and on about last episode. What was it?
But I need to actually read that one.
What was it?
The Piranesi author.
Oh, yes. That one was so... I went on and on and on about it. I did kind of go on and on, but that one deserves it because it's fabulous and it's not boring. If she reads that one...
It'll keep me awake.
It'll keep her awake.
Yeah.
But this one, so to any of our listeners who may be experiencing insomnia, this is now a public service announcement.
Yeah.
First, get a book about CBTI and learn that. And second, Isaac Asimov, Autobiography. It's the secret weapon against insomnia.
Yeah. That's really why he wrote it. He's a genius.
Yeah, it was a long thing. He was like,
"This is
I'll
for you."
serve the world with my boring anecdotes about seeing people in hallways.
It's amazing.
Okay, third thing.
Okay.
This is a question for our listeners.
Oh.
Who would you, of the three pod people here,
Oh no.
who would have the best voice to read an audiobook to you?
Oh, not
Who
me.
would you most like to listen to?
One of you two for sure.
That seems like it's going to be a question that hurts someone's feelings.
Yeah.
Oh.
So write in, listeners.
Hurt those feelings. I've always felt like I have kind of a weird voice.
We can take
I
it.
don't think I have a super
What?
one.
I feel like we've talked about this before, like when we first started the pod and we all heard ourselves.
Yeah, that's
And we're-
true.
Yeah,
we talked
and we were
about
like, the two of you sound great. I sound awful.
And all
then
of us thought
all
that.
of us thought that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I found out last night that Michaela had an instructor who was like, she had a teacher and she read something in class and he was like, you could be a voice actor. And I was like, she doesn't read aloud stuff very much. And so I was like, hey, read this thing or say this thing. And she did it. And I was like, you really could be a voice actor. You
So we
sound
need to get-
amazing.
so the correct answer is Michaela.
Yeah, Michaela.
Of the three of us,
Michaela is the
will
best.
be the
Yeah.
best.
It's so funny.
Oh man. All right.
I was just, what's that name?
I'm gonna tell you in just a second.
Nope. Pronounce it. French.
Okay, wait. It's. Let me introduce, and then you can pronounce it. You can both take a crack at it.
Oh,
Okay,
great.
I spoke German, so I'm going to nail it.
Okay. All right. So this actually, your like audiobook is really a great kind of segue into this because most of this is a real treat. Most of every single quote except for the top one is from the audiobook. Just kidding. The autobiography of the actual human from the 1400s.
Oh.
And what's great about this for you guys is I know how you love when I find something and at the end I go, and it's all fake. And you guys
Gosh, dang it.
just hate it. And so I was looking up Robin Hood. I was like, is there a real Robin Hood? Like, is there? And I did a bunch of research and they're like, no, turns out no. And I was like, the boys will love this. And so I started, because they have like some people that they think some of the stories come from. And then while I was poking around, they're like, hey, there's like a German Robin Hood. And I was like, what?
A
And
real one?
And so I read it, and he's a real, so he is a real human being. This is all like, he actually has an autobiography. It's not an audiobook, sorry. I looked to see if there was actually.
And he's like, I ran into this man in the forest, and I was like, "You look like Count von Trachenberger." And he's like, "People have often said so to me, fine sir." And then later, at the dormitories, in the camp with my fellows, they said that was Count von Trachenberger.
That's one of the quotes. I only took the most interesting quotes. Anyways, I read his research, like the research about him, and I was like, he is real, right? Like, I found so many different sources because he was so great, and he's famous for a couple of things.
For having a fake autobiography, is that number one?
No, he's not. And I can't decide. Should I tell you the two things that he's known for first, or like what would you like, or like big reveal later?
Big reveal.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Keep the
Problem
suspense.
is, one of them. Oh, here comes the Ashwini warning. Sorry.
Is this a two-parter?
It's a two-parter.
What?
Oh my gosh.
Because it's so good.
Well, also, this week check-in
Was
an hour and a half.
Anyways, I took as many quotes as I could from his autobiography because the way the man speaks and his quotes are amazing. I love how he talks. And one of the things he became famous for was the first written quote of this kind that became famous later. So,
interesting.
It's a real teaser because that one doesn't come till part 2.
Oh, dang.
The first thing he's really famous for comes at the end of this one. Anyways, I'm going to say his name after you guys take a crack at it.
Okay.
All right, Brandon, you first, since you have no German. And now you know your German.
And I also watched the Netflix series Dark recently.
So you're
So
good.
I'm just marinating in German.
Yeah.
Götz von Berlichingen.
Pretty good.
I would say Götz von Berlichingen.
That's closer. So the first name is spelled like Goetz, but it's pronounced Götz.
Oh, Götz.
So it's Götz von Berlichingen.
If you put 2 dots above an O, there's an R.
Apparently.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I forgot.
Yeah.
It's called an umlaut, though. I remembered that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In all of the stuff, I listened, like I went and I was like, how do you pronounce this? And then I listened to it over and over and over and over and over again.
And now you are Götz.
I am. Yeah. No. So I'm going to read the one quote, this top quote about Götz. And that's what I'm going to call him most of the time because Götz von Berlichingen is a lot. Because this is a quote from the editor. Because it obviously had to be translated, the autobiography. Mm-hmm. So he says, Götz von Berlichingen was simply a man filled with an abounding love of life, an unquenchable desire to throw himself into the world without reservation. He was not restrained by an overbreeding civility or even by the law, but wanted above all to win fame, honor, and respect from those around him, and do right by those who had done right by him. He was truly one of the last knights of romance, in a time where most souls are shriveled and dusty from disuse. Such a figure shines all the brighter. And that is what the editor wrote about this man.
So it's hilarious that he was like, in a time where most souls are shriveled and dusty, and we're like, he's probably from a cool period still. Now we're shriveled and dusty.
Yeah.
He knew nothing about shriveled and dusty.
Yeah, he has no idea. Okay.
Hold on. He's doing the thing that still happens where the next generation sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're romanticizing the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, nowadays kids don't understand.
They don't understand sword
Götz,
fighting.
He got it.
Yeah, he understood.
Yeah, you're right.
He understood hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah.
These kids are soft.
It's just like that movie.
All of them.
Midnight of Paris. Midnight of Paris. Did you ever see that one?
I don't think I did.
Really? It's about France, and you were in France.
Oh, you're right.
How dare you?
I've been trying to watch every single movie that has anything to do with France, and I just haven't gotten to that
So
one.
Owen Williams goes back in time. He's in France now, and he's like, this sucks. It would have been cooler when we were here in the 20s, when all of the, or like 50, I don't remember what time. He's like, when all the cool people were here. And then he goes back in time to them and meets like Mark Twain and the guy that did the Droopy Clocks. What's his name?
Dolly.
Dali, yeah. Good memory. And
mine isn't good. I should know that, but you knew it. So
yeah,
you did
exactly.
good.
Yeah, it's
Sound
called
good.
grading on a curve, and I do it all the time. Anyway, but then he meets them, and there's someone there, and she's like, "It sucks here. I wish it was 50 years ago when other people were here." And it was really funny.
Yeah. I do remember that because I did actually see the movie,
Yeah.
even though I haven't been to France. Oh,
Wow.
dang it, I have. Just kidding. So that's why I watched it, because I went to France.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Right.
Because you have, yeah.
All right. So, Götz Von Berlichingen, he
AKA
was
Götzy.
Götz was born around 1480. He was the 10th child of Kilian von Berlichingen and Margarita von Thurningen, and they're from the Swabian-Württemberg region. So the Berlichingens. It's a hard name. They were noble aristocratic family. It's from modern day Baden-Württemberg region in Germany's medieval period. I don't know a lot. To be fair, I don't know a lot about Germany regions.
Yeah.
But that's what
It's insane that someone had 10 kids and survived in the 1400s.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's because Michaela had to have C-sections for everyone. And every time I was like, if there wasn't modern medicine, she would be dead, you know?
Yeah.
But so I view childbirth as like the most dangerous thing in the world. I'm like, 10 times and she didn't die?
And she didn't die? That's crazy. It is kind of crazy. Let's see. His actual technical name was Gottfried, not Götz, but he never ever used that name. So there you go. And Götz was the 10th child he was the youngest. So he had a very slim chance of becoming an heir for any of the family aspect title. I mean, I guess the daughters weren't counted, but there's quite a few sons. Excuse me. So, like many of the lesser sons of the time, he devoted his life fully to military pursuits. So, do one of you guys want to read that first quote of what he says about that?
Do it, Brandon.
All right. And since we're like doing a little test for the
This is your
viewers to listen
application?
to, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll just use my regular voice.
No, you got to do a voice.
I often think that I was a marvelous young child.
Do it like Götz would have sounded. He sounds just like you.
Einzweiger Scheingeber.
Your German is impeccable.
Turn Swedish.
All right. Okay.
Listen, you got it. I was going to share another anecdote.
Thanks for that pep talk.
I was like, I keep interrupting and going off the rails. I apologize. I'm locked in.
Okay.
You do got it, though, Brandon.
Thank you. I often heard that I was a marvelous young child. Everyone noticed from my behavior that I was meant to be a man of war and horsemanship. How people came to this conclusion, I cannot recall. What I do know is that my mother often requested for me to visit strangers so I could study and learn, as my mother requested, so it would be.
Yeah.
That was good, except the giggly part.
I was surprised.
His mother was like, go visit strangers.
Well, what my brain was like this guy was like, yeah, everybody loved me so much that my mom told me to go away.
That's why I like that quote so much, because I had a very similar response. I was like, that's good. She was like, I don't know, one more kid, just go. I don't care.
Götz, get out and go talk to strangers. Maybe one will steal you.
Yeah.
I like the idea that she's like, she's the one that planted that he was going to be good with horses by just going, yeah, Götz, you're going to be great with horses. Go find a man with a horse.
First man with a horse.
And just ask him.
If you see somebody with a van
things.
full of puppies.
Yeah, just get right in. They probably have candy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. He went to school for about a year, but found it wasn't for him, and instead spent his time with horses and riding and skipping his schoolwork. So his cousin, Sir Conrad von Berlichingen, took Götz in as his squire for about 3 years. The first journey he accompanied his cousin on was to Margrave Friedrich.
Friedrich?
Friedrich. I kept calling it Markarth because that's almost a place in Skyrim.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's Markgraf of Friedrich of Ansbach in the
Ansbach.
Ansbach Bagash.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. In the year 1495, and this is for the Wormser
Reichstag.
Really, it's so hard. These are so hard for me. The only name I practiced was his. I didn't.
Spent all your time on Götz.
Götz.
Götz is one syllable. You're like, Götz. No, say it again. Götz.
It
Better.
was
Götz.
like my montage. I was like doing push-ups, like Götz.
Götz.
Forgot there's other names I should have been able to pronounce. Anyways, he went as a princely consultant. So with him, he had to travel to the Reichstag and become a Reisiger.
You're doing great.
I'm sorry. Anyone that speaks German or is from Germany, I'm so sorry. So from that point onwards. And,
Can I interject for a second?
Yeah.
What's a princely consult?
Consultant. I assumed that he was consulting, like, for the prince, like helping,
like
not,
being a help to the prince.
Yeah, not Götz, his cousin.
Oh.
Yeah, he was his cousin's squire.
So he was the squire to the consultant.
To the consultant, yeah.
Okay.
And then, so he had to go with him to Reichstag and become a Reisiger, which I looked up, and a Reisiger was a mounted soldier, traveler, or a man-at-arms. The term specifically referred to cavalrymen and mercenaries who traveled and fought on horseback, distinguishing them from traditional highborn knights. So, a lot of, and this is where they sort of get the Peter Pan? No.
Robin Hood?
Peter Parker.
Robin Hood.
Oh.
Yeah, the sort of Robin Hood idea, because he spends about half his time as an actual, like, noble knight, and half of his time as, like, a mercenary hiding in the forest, stealing nobles. So he does a little.
It was an inside job.
Yeah,
he knows.
It was the call was coming from inside the house.
Yeah.
So they rode for about 8 to 9 miles a day, and I just really liked. I don't know. There's some of these quotes I put in there because I felt like it was just like an interesting thing to know. So he said, Josh, go ahead and read that next quote.
This was very tough for my young for my young squire self. But since this time I have become used to it and traveled many long journeys in very few days and nights, eating and drinking little while doing so.
I think Brandon.
What accent is that?
It's drunken Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay, are you gonna leave it at that, or are we gonna read it again?
I feel like the listeners. Okay, fine. This was very tough. All right. This was very tough for my young squire's self, but since this time I've become used to it, and traveled many long journeys in very few days and nights, eating and drinking little while doing so.
So it just like 8 to 9 miles in a day on a horse was tough for him when he was younger, but when he got older, it was like normal. And there's something about that quote that just felt like very human, and I just really wanted to like remember that he was like an actual human. There's, because I have done very little horse riding in my life, but that feels like a lot. And there's times later where he talks about the results, like the damage that was done to lots of the men that were riding, like they would fall off the horse. I also enjoyed that he casually said about his cousin and circumstances during this time. He spoke how busy he and his cousin was, and this is another thing that I was like, this was the reality of the time, and this was just like normal for him. Like he casually says stuff like this. So go ahead and read that quote, Brandon.
So much was demanded of
No, like a German.
Oh yeah, let's see. What? Piggy power. Okay, so much was demanded of my cousin.
You guys are gonna lose your quote rights.
I thought he was doing great. Why did you stop that take?
I'm gonna have so so many bloopers for the end of this.
I had to get in, got to get into that accent.
Yeah.
So,
and that's the best way.
yeah.
Arnold, isn't he Austrian?
So Arnold is Austrian.
So
I'm not sure.
But the pig from
Gunther.
Sing.
Yeah. But that voice is the pig from
Sing.
Gunther.
Yeah.
Pig from Gunther. The
Name
pig from
Sing.
Sing, yeah.
Yes.
Whose
Whose name is Gunther, apparently.
Yeah. Piggy power. Anyway. All right, Kelly's not having it.
I just want it to be easy to.
So much was demanded of my cousin in those undertakings.
You guys are gonna lose. You're cool, right?
Like the Michael Jackson.
And he had trouble with me.
All right. So much was demanded of my cousin in these undertakings that he could never spend more than 2 months in his castles, of which he had 3. And even when he arrived, there were so many troubles among the Franconian knights and his good friends that even as an old knight, he could never enjoy much peace. And I was beholden to ride along with him as a squire and aid him through his duties.
Yeah. So his cousin
With his 3
has
castles.
3 castles,
Jeez.
and that's just like normal.
And it was a really hard life for him, though, because he barely got to spend time in his 3 castles.
Yeah, he was so busy. He was a busy guy.
You got to get that work-life balance, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is like.
They hadn't invented that back then.
Yeah.
What is this work-life balance?
I'll keep that in.
Yeah. It's good.
It's good. I don't know. I just loved reading this, and it just was like very human. He wasn't like with 3 castles, by the way. It just was like there was 3, and he was so busy. Like it just, I don't know. I just loved it. So his cousin passed shortly after this, and he came under the tutelage of Hans Berling von Huberon. This was directly after the campaign of the Upper Burgundy began. So campaigns are like war things. War campaigns? I don't know.
Yeah, a series of battles.
Yeah.
Like the Frieza saga.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, except for they called it the Frieza campaign back in the olden days.
Yeah, it would have been.
Yeah.
If the Germans had
Yes.
written it.
Let's hear your German Goku. Or your German Vegeta.
Yeah. Vegeta.
Vegeta. It's over 9,000!
That's a niche joke.
The whole internet gets that joke.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
just don't know where it's from.
Yeah. So in this war, there was a Sir Götz von Berlichingen that led some knights. Being the very proactive, always restless guy that Götz was, he requested permission from his master to join Berlichingen, and he got the permission.
I have to jump in here for a second.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't reading along with you when you introduced that new knight, Sir Götz. And I was just... So, this would be amazing for him to be introduced to a French people. They'd be like, your name is Towel? Because Sir Götz. Sir Götz is Towel.
What a joke!
Nah, it's a good one.
That's another one for the Frenchies. They'll be like, this is the best podcast.
Look at this German
but,
towel.
I mean, they'll like the podcast if they also speak English.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully. Carry on.
Carry on. Here we go. We're locking in. No more edits. That always works. So, okay. So he got permission to join this Berlichingen guy.
This campaign.
And here he joined and tell of how they marched and occupied a few places, but they had to wear their armor day and night, and it was pretty rough conditions and severe weather. And so this is when he spoke of how soldiers fell off their horses as if they were drunk, even though they hadn't had any wine the night before. Like it was super normal for them to have like wine and fall off their horses, but it was crazy that they were falling off their horses with no wine.
Maybe he just wasn't invited. They're like, don't tell Götz.
Yeah, he's anyways. And so then the next day there was a crazy storm, and he says about the storm, I'll read this one. A great, just give me.
But you gotta say piggy power first.
Yeah. A great storm arose that flung hail as big as chicken eggs, such that a landsknecht who tried to cross the street was struck into the ground by them. Therefore, we had to remain where we were until the weather changed. And then he says, after they left in pursuit of an enemy, he said, we dearly wanted a brawl with the enemy, but this did not happen in a in a forest, we waited through the night until daytime. Our captain said that when the enemies came out of Langers, we would cut them off from the city. But the enemy did not show themselves because they, as the saying goes, smelled the roast. And I loved that. I was like, we should bring this back. It just means that they smelled the roast was essentially like they smelled a rat, so they could sense that there was a trap or something.
I thought it was because they were cooking roasts. They were like, we're going to be here all days, guys. I'll get this roast going.
Okay, so the idiom comes from the kitchens of wealthy estates and castles. You're not too far off, Josh. In Central Europe during the Middle Ages. So historically, only the upper class and noble could afford to cook and eat fresh meat, such as roast. So they suspect that when the savory, distinct smells of cooking meat drifted out of the kitchen, servants of uninvited guests in other parts of the building would catch the scent. They would immediately realize a lavish meal was being prepared. Because the scent proved that someone was hiding and enjoying a luxury they weren't meant to share, catching the scent of the roast became a metaphor for detecting a deception or figuring out someone's true motives. So they really, like, you were right on there. So anyways, he really did talk a lot about, like, and then I went down the hall and I saw this guy. But it was like the hail was so big it was the size of chicken eggs. And they wanted to fight the enemy, but they couldn't because they smelled the roast. So it was a lot of like, we have to sit here through the storm. We have to go chase these people, but we didn't have to get to fight them. That was a lot of what he spent his time doing.
Do you think the guy that got hit by a hail as big as a chicken egg and fell in the street, they just let him die?
Probably.
He just fell face down in the mud and the muck, and they were like, he's a goner now.
Yeah, we can't go out and get him. There's more chicken eggs falling.
It sounds...
Can you imagine? So, like, it was very shortly after I bought my car. There was a wild hailstorm, and the hail was like marble sized, and it left dents in my car. My car is peppered with little tiny dents, if you look at it, from the hail. And those were marble size. So I was trying to imagine the damage a chicken egg size hailstorm would cause. That's insane to me. Like, like, they probably did leave him out because they're like, if we go out there, we'll also get hit by these chicken egg hails. It was nuts. Yeah, I also was really, really upset. It is the only time I've ever seen hail that big, and it was right after I bought my car.
Yeah, that is obnoxious.
I was really mad. Anyways, so as they marched, they came to various villages, and this also was wild to me, just like the life that they lived. So go ahead and read the next quote, and the one after that is really long, so you guys can fight over who does the long one, who does the short one.
We marched until the late night. We marched until late night and arrived at a different village, which even had a small castle and a bathhouse. Sadly, it was a French village, and therefore the food had all been taken. Food for the horses was plenty, and the staples were supplied, but God thankfully gave us chicken and eggs in this emergency, which we cooked up in the morning, and which filled us with joy. We had just prepared the food when an order came in to march out and burn the village. We then had to put the bridles on the horses and load our equipment on their backs, but the village was already rising up in flames to such a degree that horses started jumping like goats. We therefore had to break camp and move on quickly, so neither we nor the horses had much food for another 3 days and 2 nights. So they hung out in the village, and they were like, oh, this is great. Let's eat our chickens. And then they were like, hold on, guys. We got to burn this village.
Yeah.
Like, their orders were crossed, and they were like, we weren't supposed to board here. We were supposed to burn them.
Here. It's just, like, so crazy to me that was their reality. Okay, so after campaigning with Lantershim, he asked permission to holiday at home since his father had passed, and he wanted to help take care of his mother and siblings. but he got real bored real fast. And he
Because there's
said,
10 siblings, man. They
yeah,
can
he
take care of
doesn't-
each other.
Yeah. And so he said to himself, why should I stay here? And rode to Ansbach and began working for Markgraf Friedrich himself. There he trained as his honor squire his honor squire in waiting at first. And he had his first experience with a stay in jail. This is his first crime. He goes to jail for this. The story is wild, so I just kept in his whole account. So,
All right.
Brandon, have fun. Now I'm not the only one having to pronounce names.
Oh, goody.
Yeah.
All right. One evening, I had to sit next to a Polshian, which is an archaic medieval term for the Poles, who groomed his hair with eggs. Luckily, I was wearing a long harness, which Götz Von Berlichingen had made for me in Namur. When I then got up next to the previously mentioned Polshian, my harness brushed his pretty hair. He then jumped up from his chair and stabbed at me with a butter knife, but missed. This angered me, but I still picked my short rapier instead of my long one and punched him over the head with it. The marshal came down to me and told me to surrender. I responded, therefore, with the unfriendly words, "Inconceivable." I can't do a good inconceivable. All right. Inconceivable. Leave me untouched. I have to go up to the young princes. The good man was smarter than me and let me go. If he had attacked me, I surely would have defended myself and would have gotten myself into even greater misery. I therefore went to the princes and told him what happened between me, the Polshian, and the marshal. They were about to go to breakfast and said I should remain where I was, and if someone came into the chambers, to hide in the back room and lock the doors from the inside. I locked myself inside until the princes returned. They reported of their attempt to speak to their father and their dearest royal mother about me, but it was of no success. They asked the king to forego my punishment, but this wasn't possible. The old Markgraf insisted that I had to be thrown into the tower if he wanted a good wife, and the princes a gracious mother. The princes told me to not resist, for they shall only jail me in the tower for a quarter of an hour. I still responded, "For what shall I be in the tower at all? It was the Polsh who attacked me first." They sincerely promised, though, that I should not remain in the tower for longer than 15 minutes. I let myself be convinced and willingly went into the tower. Prince George?
I'd said a Georg, but it might be George.
Prince Georg wanted to give me a velvet coat decorated with a marten and sable fur, so I could cover myself, but I asked what I should do with this. It's all the same to be in the shit or next to it. If the punishment is so short, it doesn't matter anyway. The princes remained loyal to their promises and gave me up after the agreed upon time, when my brave captain arrived, Sir Paul von Ashburg, who then released me. I had to explain to him the situation, and this brave knight then took me before the court. He vouched for me and apologized on my behalf. All the squires and senior squires, around 50 or 60, stood around me, and Paul von Ashburg passionately spoke that the Polish should also be arrested, but he did not succeed at this.
So this, I feel like, is a really good demonstration of the type of guy that he was. He had a bit of a mouth on him, and he wasn't always the most polite, and he was also very much a guy of action. He also spoke of about half a year later, he saw a close friend of his in a feud with another Polish or whatever Pole. The Pole had a pike, and so Götz knew his friend wouldn't reach the Pole in time since his friend had a shorter weapon. And so Götz jumped in the way and shouted to the Pole, "If you follow through, I shall beat you on the head so hard you shall catch the plague." I love it. And so Götz says that he acted with restraint and did not attack, and the and that ended the fight. Like his insult, I guess, ended the fight.
I love the idea that there was all this drama over a 15-minute jail sentence.
Yeah, yeah, it was 15 minutes, and like it's
And
just
he was
so
like
funny.
trying to give him the coat. He's like, "Here for your long intern," and he's like, "Whatever, man. It's 15 minutes. I'll be fine." Then why did you even fight about it? Just go.
And it's also
It's a matter of honor.
yeah, and it's also all over the fact that he like brushed the guy's pretty hair.
Yeah. You know who else did their hair with eggs?
Who?
The lead singer of Static X.
Well, there you go. Okay, so in 1497, when Götz was about 17 years old, under the service of a Friedrich the First, he began his career as a free knight. So this is also when they were in their war against the Swiss. So Götz said of the early skirmishes with the Swiss, winning mostly because leaders weren't decisive, and there was a lot of talking and not a lot of doing. And he said, where there are many minds and too many advisors, often things do not go as they are supposed to. So he just like didn't love the like bureaucracy of stuff. He was much more like a man of action. So during the Swiss War, he said he didn't participate in many serious fights except one where he explained. Josh, I think you could do this one if you want.
Okay. A bunch of Swiss troops sat in a church tower and defended themselves, but did not want to surrender, and instead said that they would rather die like honorable oath keepers. Sir Melchior Zutzel was struck in the face with a stone by a group of Swiss soldiers who sallied out from the church. Many other nobles and non-nobles, on horse and on foot, were shot by the ones defending the church. When my horse, on which I served as a squire for the Markgraf, was shot, I ran on foot to the troops at the church and armed myself with an old spear because my rapier was still on the saddle of my dead horse. Suddenly, Mr. Jacob, a gunsmith and a thin little man, who stood bravely next to me, was hit with a shot. The round went through his body and hit another Württembergian man who had only thin armor. He was killed, but the gunsmith survived. Finally, Sebaldespat and some others brought gunpowder and lit it under the church tower, so that the soldiers inside burned alive. One Swiss soldier fell down from above with a child in his arms. The Swiss soldier perished, but the child walked away without harm. A knight of the Markgraf took this child in. Some knights spent too much time in the church, perhaps to pillage, but the powder caught up to them, and they burned miserably in the fire. I cannot know if they all died or some survived, but nobody walked out.
My guess is that they didn't survive.
Probably not.
But again, I don't know. Like, it's just so wild to hear first accounts, and maybe I'm the only one that's like, this was his life. Like, I don't know. And the child that survived, and then was like taken in by a knight. Like, they didn't, just because he was an enemy child, they didn't kill him, and like took him in and raised him as his own. Like in his biography, he talks about how like. He didn't know the child in like personally, but he knew he grew up. Mm-hmm. So he like lived.
I think that would be just another wild part of that story, right? Like these people attacked my town, burned a bunch of the people. I was saved by one of these people, but they died, and then the enemies took me and raised me.
Which I don't even know if he knew because it was a very young child.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Isn't that part of like Kill Bill?
Is it? I don't know.
They took the child to raise him to hate his own people and then unleashed him as the ultimate form of revenge.
I don't know anything about Kill Bill.
I don't remember that in Kill Bill.
I've never seen it.
No. The main character in Kill Bill is a girl.
I know, but doesn't somebody get taken and raised to hate their... Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
I know that...
She's in a coma.
Yeah. I know that in Greek mythology they have stuff like that. But it doesn't ever work out.
Yeah, it usually doesn't.
It goes poorly, yeah.
The kid finds out the truth and then...
kills everybody. Yeah, it goes bad.
That we're raising him to kill him. You know what I'm thinking of? It's an episode of Archer. All right, continue.
Okay, so 1 year after this, he states he started wearing armor again, which actually was a common saying at the time to mean he got oneself in trouble or instigated conflict, which I thought was interesting. So this was round 2 for him in jail. So he and his brother were in Helbrunn to visit their wives also, I don't know if he talks about this later, but in his like history reading. He married a lady named, I think it's Deborah. I'll try and make sure in the next episode to make sure, but her name was Deborah, and she dies, and his second wife's name is Deborah. And I was like, was it though? Like, or did he just keep calling her that? And they're like, yeah, sure, that's what it is now. Anyways,
it's kind of like those people that get married to people with the same last name.
Yeah.
And they're just like, I just didn't want to change.
Yeah,
like, it's fine.
It's easier.
I've known a few of those people.
So when someone wrote after them saying that his master wanted them to join. So Götz was like, well, if your master is so great, why isn't he asking us himself? And they wrote off. And so then the next day, who should show up personally to talk to Götz and his brother, but the old Thalacker von Massenbach, who at the time was an infamous Swabian brigand who had made a fortune ransoming his way across southern Germany. So he wanted help waging war against the Duke of Württemberg. And at the time, he only had a few men of his own. And so with Götz and his brother, it made it a total of 6 men for the task.
It's hard to wage a war with 6 men, I
6
feel
men.
like.
Well, when one of them is Götz, and also Gertz's brother. So there's a few times, I think he hangs out with his brother a lot. I don't know which brother it is, but he hangs out with him a lot.
We know it's his older brother.
Yeah. That's the one thing we know for sure. So they started capturing 11 rich Württembergian peasants to ransom. And then they rode onward and took, as he says, everything and everyone that was Württembergian. And so they just kept taking things. And then they even daringly went to the walls of the city in plain view of the guards on the said city wall. And he states that this is the first time that he wore his full knight armor, and for 2 years he got to know many knights. Like, he stayed with them for 2 years and got to know many knights and grew very attached to the group. So the group obviously grew, and it's like he foreshadows a little bit that later the Thalacker group becomes an enemy, and that's like sad. He basically, they went around for 2 years, like stealing nobles, ransoming them, and messing with the aristocrats of the areas with this Thalacker group. Those 2 years ended because he rode to get a horse that was promised to him, and his mother's brother asked that Götz would join him, and since he was family, he could not deny him. He says that he believed his uncle requested Götz to stay with him specifically to get him away from the Thalacker bunch. So he wanted him to join so that he wasn't with those outlaws anymore. After this, he found that his previous master, Markgraf, was in need and said he would ride out to help him with no pay. So Markgraf's man, Casimir, told Götz that he wasn't wanted and there was no need for him to stay so close to the Markgraf. And Götz shot back a sharp reply, and Markgraf was like, do what you want, you're going to do that anyways. And so he did join. And after this, so he told the Markgraf he was going to help even if he didn't want him to. So the Markgraf was like, do whatever you want. So after this, Captain Paul von Asberg took him in so he could stand by his side in the battlefield. About this partnership, Götz says, we wanted to invite each other to the church, which at the time was a sarcastic way of saying they wanted to fight each other. So him and his captain got along very poorly. However, when Götz tried to sneakily join a different group of knights, Captain Paul recognized him by his armor and shouted, and this is the thing, so go ahead and read that. There's
leave the one from Berlichingen here, and take my kinsman Hans Georg von Aschberg with you instead. I therefore remained with my captain. The master of Aschberg tried to gain an advantage by marching through the water ditch towards Nuremberg to scout out their positions and fortifications. To our surprise, the Nurembergians were prepared with a large force and cannons and sent one shot after another into our lines. Von Aschberg and his troops retreated in a mad dash to get away as fast as possible. We could not take good cover inside the forest. The Nurembergians were putting so much pressure on us with their cannons and wagon forts that we could not remain anywhere for a long time, because no one particularly enjoys getting shot at.
True.
I just love how he talks. Also, this is about 1502. So June 15th, here we see it turns into a full-on battle where we get to see the quick thinking and prowess of Götz. So I think, and it's said about him that he wasn't like a boastful guy. And when you read what he has, like how he talks and stuff, it's not like he's not self-aggrandizing. He just sort of says things how it is.
Yeah, he seems rather matter-of-fact.
Yeah, he's a very matter-of-fact guy and very blunt. And this is one of the times where I think we get to see a little bit of what maybe how other people saw him in the field. Even though he's saying it very like, this is what happened, you can imagine how he would have been seen as a bit of a really impressive knight, which we'll get there in just a sec. But anyways, his group had about 700 cavalrymen, around 300 footmen, and around 300 Landsknechts. They're mercenaries. That's their word for mercenaries. And 300 Swiss pikemen. The Nurembergians were well trained and had cannons and wagon forts. Both sides collided, and immediately they asked Casimir to send aid. And Casimir was like, yeah, keep holding that in God's name, and he would. In God's name, send reinforcements. But all the footmen fell back. So it was left to everyone else to hold the line. So nevertheless, they pushed toward the enemy line with enemy cannon shots so tight and frequent that they could barely see each other through the smoke. But they still pushed on. When they got to the cannon forts, they didn't know what to do. The enemy was talented wagoneers, and they found themselves unable to move forward.
So cannon forts are like armored wagons, right?
Yeah, you got it. And then Götz had a crazy idea. He would go in on his own and kill the horses that pulled the wagons. It was a risky maneuver, but if he could stop the wagon forts from moving forward and joining, because essentially they would move forward and join together and kind of create this impenetrable wall.
Yeah.
And so he wanted to make it so that the wagon forts couldn't move forward and join, and that would make them vulnerable.
This is not a crazy idea. If you're faced with a armored wagon pulled by horses, to be like, we should kill the motor.
Yeah.
We should kill the thing that makes it able to move.
Well,
Wow,
he was the one to think of it.
Götz,
Maybe the
you're a
crazy
madman.
idea was going in on his own.
Yeah. Maybe.
And he was able to just do that. So single-handedly, he went in, killed a bunch of the horses, the motors, to stop the wagon forts from going forward and joining, and essentially turning the tide of the battle. He says, but the enemy was talented, and he and his men were tired. The enemy had reinforcements coming, and they didn't know if they actually did have reinforcements coming. But what ho, in the distance, reinforcements! They were so relieved that men stood ready to welcome the fresh men, but those reinforcements started shooting cannons at them, and they realized that they were enemy reinforcements, not their reinforcements. So Götz was not going to let that stand, and he and Sir Hund and only the cavalry fought so bravely and so fiercely that they defeated all the reinforcements, forcing the enemy to retreat. At one point, Götz and his horse were so injured he thought himself dead for sure. Sadly, his horse did in fact die from its wounds. And the heat of the day was so strangling that some of the men were killed by the heat instead of weapons. So like,
How do they know that?
that's what he said.
I love the idea that there's just a bunch of people in armor dead, and they're like, it was probably the heat that killed them. Like in the middle of a battlefield.
I mean, it might have been that some of them were like not even on the battlefield and like collapsed from heat exhaustion.
Yeah.
Or maybe when they were going to find people, there's like no wound on them, but they're dead. Must have been the heat.
I think that would be terribly disappointing to have your son come back from war. And be
Like, it just
did he
was
fight
too
bravely? It was too hot.
Yeah. But despite all that, they captured the battlefield and the cannons and the wagon forts. And to top it all off, he and his brother never got paid for any of their participation because he said he would join without pay. They both volunteered for it, but that was how they wanted it. He says later he was in a castle where people he did not know, people that did not know that he was in there started talking about him, and he overheard this conversation. So whoever wants to read this next one, and you can, there's like one quote right after the other, but whoever wants to read that.
I think, didn't I read the last one?
Yeah, I think it's your turn, Josh. It starts with the captain.
The captain responded, "Yes, my lord had brave men, but I saw no braver men than the two Berlichingen brothers. I do not think that Mr. von Absberg was aware that I was in the room. As I stood there, I shoved a fellow comrade with my arm and said, 'Do you hear what he's saying?' He responded, 'Yes.' This was worth more to me and my dearest brother than if the Markgraf would have gifted us 2,000 Gulden, German gold coin known in England as the guilder." He goes on to say, "Even the ones 30 miles away from us still spoke well of us, at least from what friends told us. This was more valuable to us than gold or silver, which we would not have accepted anyway. When I went to ride home, only one out of the 4 horses I had in the battle remained. It was the wildest one, but the Markgraf's advisors generously gave me some of their own personal horses. Especially worth mentioning is Sir Götz von Westenberg, who gave me his dearest horse. This was a surprise to everyone, because they believed that even if the Markgraf himself begged for it, von Westenberg would not have given it freely. This pay, like I said, was for me and my brothers the most valuable thing imaginable, and we were happy even if we remained the poorest fellows of the nobility."
So there he is. Okay, and then so went through all that, didn't get paid, but he did kind of. I mean, he was given like 3 horses or something. And then in 1503, he joins back up with the Thalakker's gang, and he was happy to be with his friends and his comrades once more. And with the Thalacker gang is, again, when he feels very Robin Hoodian. They had to hide out in forests and rely on the charity of others who would bring cheese and bread to them in the forest, which feels very Robin Hood. But Thalakker's group had good men and friends and donors, so even though they were always hiding out in forests, they were always taken care of. But then in 1504, so a year later, the Bavarian War began. He was put in charge of a troop of men and given a horse that was not his to go into battle with. He explained he would have rather had somebody else in charge of these men because he felt that there was other men more capable than he was. Also, it was against his will that he marched with them into Barovia because his 2 brothers were elsewhere and he wanted to be with them. And there was too many... Sorry, my nose itches. And there was too many skirmishes. Like at this point, he talks about too many skirmishes and confrontations that happened then could be retold. But there was one life-changing one that he had to describe to us. I think, Brandon, it's your turn to read.
Okay. Acted as a young fellow full of manly courage, and thinking that while I was young I ought to make myself a man in good company, on Sunday near Landshunt we were fighting a battle, and the Nurembergians aimed a cannon at friend and foe alike. Our enemies had an advantageous position in a ditch, and I would have very much desired to clash my spear against them. When I was standing still and was looking for an opportunity to strike, the Nurembergians suddenly turned their cannon against us, and with it shot my sword pommel in 2, so that half of it cut into my arm and into the bracers too. The pommel was so deep in the bracers that one could not see it anymore. It still surprises me that I did not fall off my horse. My bracers stayed whole because the corners, which stood out a bit. The other parts of the sword grip were not split into 2, but I could not see them. I think those parts were the ones that cut my hand off. Between the glove and the crossbow gear, the arm was shattered from front to back. When I noticed that my hand hung limply by the skin and my spear dropped below my horse, I acted like nothing happened. I turned my horse around and got away from the enemy and back to my people without any trouble. An old Landsknecht came to me who wanted to join the battle. I called him over and asked him
to stay with me because he saw how dire my situation was. He did as I said, and then left to find the doctor. When I arrived in Landshut, my old comrades who fought against me in this battle described to me how I was shot. A nobleman named Fabian von Walsdorf, a Vlatlander, was hit by the same shot and was killed by it, even though the shot hit me first. Therefore, both friend and enemy were harmed by it. This nobleman was a fine, beautiful man, so beautiful you could not find a more handsome man among 1,000 men.
What? I read this and he's like talking about when his arm, so his, like, it's from like just above the wrist down is shot completely off. It's like hanging there by like a little bit of skin. And in it, he talks about how devastating that was. Because it's essentially, he was like, that's the end of my career. I can't be a knight anymore. And he even talks about in the like pain of recovery, how he like begged God to just let him die because he wasn't going to be able to be a knight anymore. And there was nothing else that he wanted to be. But still, he had to talk about how handsome this other guy was. Like, that's really interesting. So here becomes the one thing that he is very, very majorly known for. His name, other than Götz Von Berlichingen, that he is known as, is Götz of the Iron Hand, because he didn't succumb to his wounds, obviously, and he had good connections. And so what happened was they built for him the very first prosthetic hand that was so well made. It was like armor, so it was made out of iron, and it could articulate, and he could move it around so well that he could still hold a quill and wrote with it, with his prosthetic hand. And so this was in 1504, and he continued to be a knight for many, many more years, and became this really fearsome knight with an iron hand. And this is where we're going to stop for part one, where we just find out that he essentially, like, it's the oldest prosthetic that is so, it's just incredibly made. Like, they're I think they have pictures of it, or of the designs. Anyways, it is so crazy to me, the life that this man lives. And I like, when I was reading it, I was like, yeah, it is kind of Robin Hoodian, because he is like literally living in the forest with outlaws and like stealing from the rich and helping the poor. But he also is a knight at other times, and he just does what he really thinks needs to happen for the best outcome. Like, he wants to help his people, right? And he isn't, so he's faithful to his wife. He's not out there like being with a bunch of women.
King Arthuring it.
Yeah, and I was like, this feels like a better example of what a like chivalrous knight should be versus King Arthur. So, but maybe that's just me. I just like loved, I was really enjoying his story. So that's why I did so many quotes, because I just loved hearing it from his point of view, because I feel like that's really rare.
Yeah.
You know, there wasn't a lot of people from the 1400s that had autobiographies written. So.
And it's interesting that he's probably pretty rare in that he's a nobleman technically, but he didn't really live the life of like a noble person, you know? So I imagine we have plenty of autobiographies written about kings and princes and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to get this kind of the fringe, you know, like not quite a peasant, but someone that's more aware of the rest of the world.
Yeah, like a low-class noble.
Yeah.
Like, just above everybody else a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
So, it's super cool, and I hope that was enjoyable and interesting for you guys. He had quite the exploits and a couple stints in jail and an arm shot off. So, it's pretty, or a hand and some part of an arm. So anyways, we will finish with a part 2 next time, and you'll get to know the second thing that he's very famous for, and which I love. It's a little bit more sassy than this one. I think this one is pretty impressive, but that's his name. I didn't call him by this the whole time because I didn't want to give it away, but Götz of the Iron Hand. So we will get to learn the rest of it next time.
Excellent.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. So thanks for the Thanks for just being here. So, okay.
Do a little art.
Oh yeah, go do some art. Don't do any crime. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Did you look pretty French?
No. I don't have dark hair and my nose isn't big enough. But
Rude. I've been told I look very French, and now I'm upset.
oh
It's because you always wear striped shirts and berets. It's nothing to do with your nose size.
no.